जय जय माँ, जय जय माँ, जय जय माँ, जय जय माँ। जगत जननी जगदम्बिके हे माँ, हे माँ। जगत जननी जगदम्बिके हे माँ, हे माँ। मैं आध पहर महिमा गाऊं, तेरे सुमिरन से सुख पाऊं। हे परम सुखदाय वरदायिनी हे माँ, हे माँ। जगत जननी जगदम्बिके हे माँ, हे माँ। तू दिव्य ज्योत, तू सुखदारक, तू भक्त जनों की उतारक। भव सागर में सब के तारक, तू स्वयं शक्त शक्तिदारक। मैं देव सिरे तुझको ध्याऊं, तेरे सुमिरन से सुख पाऊं। हे परम सुखदाय वरदायिनी हे माँ, हे माँ। जगत जननी जगदम्बिके हे माँ, हे माँ। तू भवप्रीता नंदमयी, तू रन चंडी, तू कालजयी। हर युग में तेरे रूप करे, हर पूजा में तू लागे नहीं। मन अपना तुझ तक लेना, तेरे सुमिरन से सुख पाऊं। हे परम सुखदाय वरदायिनी हे माँ, हे माँ। जगत जननी जगदम्बिके हे माँ, हे माँ। जगत जननी जगदम्बिके हे माँ, हे माँ। जय जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ। जय जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ। जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ।
बोलो जगदम्बिका दुर्गा माता की जय। Om Jai Sitaram, everyone. Thank you for joining with us. Let us now join together in Prarthana. Om गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देवा सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गजाननं भूतगणादिसेवितं कपित्तजम्बो फलचारुभक्षणम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारकं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजम्। अतुलितबलधामं हेमशैलाभदेहं धनुजवनकृशानं ज्ञानिनामृगगण्यं सकलगुणनिदानं वानराणामधीशं रघुपतिप्रियभक्तं वातजातं नमामि। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ करारविन्दे नपदारविन्दं मुखारविन्दे विनिवेशयन्त्रं वतस्य पत्रस्य पुतेशयानं बालमुकुन्द मनसा स्मरामि। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। लोकाभिरामं रणरङ्गधीरं राजीवनेत्रं रघुवंशनाथं कारुण्यरूपं करुणाकरन्तं श्रीरामचन्द्रं मनसा स्मरामि। श्रीराम जय राम जय जय राम। 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 ॐ वन्दे देवमुमापतिं सुरगुरुं वन्दे जगत्कारणं वन्दे पन्नगभूषणं मृगधरं वन्दे पशूनापतिं वन्दे सूर्यशशाङ्कवाहनयनं वन्दे मुकुन्दप्रियं वन्दे भक्तजनाश्रयं च वरदं वन्दे शिवं शङ्करं। या कुन्देन्दुतुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिर्देवे सदा वन्दिता। सा मा पातु सरस्वती भगवती निशेषजाध्यापहा। ॐ लक्ष्मी करोतु कल्याणम् आरोग्यं सुखसम्पदा मम शत्रुविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते। ॐ नमो दिव्ये महादेवे शिवाय सततं नमः। नमः प्रकृत्य भद्राय नियताः प्रणताः स्मतां। रौद्राय नमो नित्याय गौरे धात्रे नमो नमः। ज्योत्स्नाय चिन्दरूपिण्ये सुखाय सततं नमः। कल्याणे प्रणतां वृद्धे सिद्धि कुर्मो नमो नमः। नैऋत्ये भूभृतां लक्ष्मे शर्वाणि ते नमो नमः। दुर्गाय दुर्गापाराय साराय सर्वकारिण्ये ख्याते तथैव कृष्णाय धूम्राय सततं नमः। अतिसौम्यातिरौद्राय नतास्तस्यै नमो नमः। नमो जगत्प्रतिष्ठाय दिव्ये कृत्ये नमो नमः। Everyone together. ॐ या देवी सर्वभूतेषु या देवी सर्वभूतेषु विष्णुमायिति शब्दता। नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु चैतन्येत्यभिधीयते। नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु बुद्धिरूपेण संस्थिता। नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु निद्रारूपेण संस्थिता। नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु क्षुद्धारूपेण संस्थिता। नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु छायारूपेण संस्थिता। नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता। नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु तृष्णारूपेण संस्थिता। नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता। नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः।
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु जातिरूपेण संस्थिता।
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु लज्जारूपेण संस्थिता।
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता। नमस्तस्यै नमस्तस्यै
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः। नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु श्रद्धारूपेण संस्थिता।
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु कान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता।
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु लक्ष्मीरूपेण संस्थिता।
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः।
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु वृत्तिरूपेण संस्थिता
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु स्मृतिरूपेण संस्थिता
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु दयारूपेण संस्थिता
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु तुष्टिरूपेण संस्थिता
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु भ्रान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
इन्द्रियाणामधिष्ठात्री भूतानां चाखिलेषु य भूतेषु सततं तस्यै व्यापि दिव्ये नमो नमः चितिरूपेण या कृत्स्नमेतव्याप्य जगत् नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो
ॐ
नमः
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः
नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो
ॐ
नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो 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 नमः
नमस्तस्यै नमो
नमः बोलो श्री दुर्गा माता की जय जगदम्बिका दुर्गा माता की जय Jai Sitaram, Jai Mataji, everyone. Today, of course, is the day of Maa Durga. And of course, we like to think that Maa Durga, she resides in every form in our lives. The first woman on earth, she was Shatrupa, meaning one with 100 forms. And that is because for man in Hinduism, we believe that for man to have created, that God had a play into this. That Bhagwan had a play into who came first and how they came. And so as a representative of Maa Durga, the first woman was Shatrupa, representing all the various forms that Maa Bhavani has. And because of this, what do? We chant the stotran that we just chanted, speaking about all the forms that she takes in our life, in all the different ways that she takes. If you listen to the services, you know that I've gone through these many, many times. All of the different forms and all of the different names that we call that Maa Durga represents. I won't do them today because we've done them before. But you realize that some of these are not so good names. Some of them are things that we wouldn't think that Maa Durga takes a form as in our life. But nevertheless, we learned about it. We learned more about what that form means or what that quality means and how she takes that form in our life. Because the how is very, very important to us. And that brings us to a question. How is it that we can appreciate something if you do not know about it? If you only knew and heard about these qualities that Maa Durga has, you've only seen certain forms of Maa Durga, how is it that you would appreciate it without knowing the background of this, without knowing the katha, the stories of how this took place, the forms, the names? How is it that you would appreciate how Ma enters our life? How is it that you would appreciate each form that she takes within each and every single one of us if we do not know what that form is about? There are many things that in our life we do not know about, of course. And we take these things for granted sometimes. For one, the older I get, the more I respect our culture that we have, our Guyanese culture. First, let me say that I'm very blessed to have all of these kids on stage with me, helping us out with the chorus group and tabla playing. You guys did a wonderful job so far. Thank you so much. But I remember that because when I'm speaking about this and how blessed I am as someone from our descent, of Caribbean descent, I think about when I was your age. Not that I'm old, don't call me old. But I think about when I was your age and the distance that I wanted to create sometimes with our culture. At first, I wanted to not recognize myself with Guyanese culture. You know, as Canadian children, we do this subconsciously maybe, but we do it nonetheless. We want to stay away. This is not the legitimate way, we're told. When we say parsad, this is not the legitimate way to say things. We hear our Indian brothers and sisters saying things correctly. And so we try to distance ourselves from this culture that we hear of. Because we've been put in a different time, a different culture ourselves that is Canada. And the two sometimes don't mesh very well. If you speak a certain way, if you act a certain way, if you think a certain way, it doesn't go well with how society wants you to do it. And so, as I grew older, I began to appreciate all of these things because I learned about them, what they meant, and the true meaning behind them. Maybe this is for all of you, but there's a page on Instagram, if you're on Instagram. It's called Cutlass Magazine. I'm giving them a shout out now. Because they're doing very, very important work. It's run by one young man, his name is Vinay. And in his recent posts, this is why I'm speaking about it today. In his recent posts, he has called out certain things that we neglect in our society. Sometimes we put down. And one of these things being our names, our Hindu names specifically. And sometimes we make fun of them. We make fun of them in our culture. We say, that's not a nice name. How could they have such a name? It sounds funny. All of these excuses that we make. Like Sundar. If you see someone named Sundar, a little kid named Sundar now, you don't see that. Why? Because things come in and out of style. Because we ourselves put our value on these names. But we don't understand that that name has a beautiful meaning. You see what I did there? Because Sundar means beautiful? Okay. But we don't understand that these names, they have a beautiful meaning sometimes. And it's just sometimes the people that have put a wrong meaning to it based on themselves. Sometimes Gurji, I don't know why, but sometimes Pandit Hardat, he calls me Sarju. I don't know where this started from. Do you know? Bhumi? I could not tell you. But sometimes he calls me Sarju as a pet name, as a nickname. The name Sarju, we hear this many people name Sarju or with the last name Sarju. It comes from the name Sarayu, which is a river, a holy river in India. When we say Prasad, the last name Prasad, it means prashad, an offering. This is just the Bhojpuri translation. When we say Devraj, it means Devraj, like Devraj in Indra, the king of the Devatas. When we say Shiv Charan or Ram Charan, what do these mean? It means the lotus feet of Bhagwan. These I'm quoting directly from his post, all these examples, and there's many more as well. But it's important to call these out because they're not incorrect. The way that we say them is not incorrect. It is a language called Bhojpuri that has been lost in time, unfortunately. But there are many people that speak it, that know it very well. And this account is uncovering it for us so that we understand exactly why we have these names, why we do certain things, and giving us a little bit of knowledge behind our culture so that we can appreciate it more. Previously, on another one of his posts, he explained the difference between prasad that we offer and mahambhog. Have you heard this term? Some people will say mahambhog, and some people will say prasad, or sometimes we say parsad, which is fine as well. What is the difference between these two? Prasad means offering. And by the way, if you want it to be a little bit more correct, you can say prasad instead of parsad. And prasad is better than persad. Don't ever say persad as an offering in the temple. That you can just keep that as a last name. You can say parsad, you can say prasad, or you can say mahambhog. But what is the difference? The difference is that mahambhog, or as it's supposed to be, is Mohan Bhog. And Mohan is Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Mohan is Bhagwan Shri Krishna, Bhog is food. This is the food or the offerings of Bhagwan Shri Krishna, which is the parsad that we eat. Because that it is a favorite of his. Prasad means an offering, which means a blessed offering. So when you offer something and then you take that back, that is prasad. We use it interchangeably, and that is fine, of course. There's nothing wrong with that. But that is the difference between mahambhog, that you can offer to all of the gods, and prasad. These are little bits of knowledge that gives us truly a recognition of our culture, of why we do certain things, to understand how the elder generations spoke and why they spoke in this way. When we do not know something, we tend not to understand it. We tend not to appreciate it. And sometimes when we do not know a puja, people say that puja does not make sense to do. Or they don't want to follow that puja. They don't want to attend it because it's something different that they do not know about. Jai Ma. When people see something new in our religion, they say that what we are doing, that practice that we are doing is strange. And they do not want to learn about that. For me, personally, I thought about this when Pandit Hardat first chanted the Kunjika Stotram. It was a very strange chanting because it is unlike any other chanting, you can say that. And so I thought to myself, this is such a strange chanting. I've never heard this before. What is Guruji saying? It almost sounds as if he's making this up. But when you learn about the chanting, when you learn about the meaning behind the chanting as well, what happens? You gain an appreciation for it. And now this is something that we chant on the regular in our temple. And I hope that no one else thinks that this chanting is weird because we hear it so much. Maybe another day we'll break down this chanting to explain what it means to us. But that is one way I thought about this chanting, that why are we saying this? It is very strange. Maybe I should not say this. But you learn about it and it becomes something that you can appreciate. And of course, anytime we add something into our religion, and this is why we should, appreciate what Guruji is doing as well, Pandit Hardat. He brings new things into our culture all the time. He brings new things into this temple all the time that we have to learn about. It keeps us on our toes. Sometimes we do Maharudram, Ekadashrudram, Sometimes we do different 108 chantings. All of these things have a purpose, and though we might not know of them previously, they are from somewhere. They are from somewhere in this ancient religion of ours that we've practiced for thousands of years. There's nothing new in this. And so we might find it strange, but this is something that we follow, that many people follow. When a baby is born, people say, forget the puja, let us celebrate with a party. You have a 9-day celebration. But instead of that, they should be doing prayers. They should be giving thanks to prarthana and sanskars, because this is what is prescribed to us. All of these things, we do not appreciate these holy days because we do not know about the true purpose of it sometimes. And that is okay. That is okay because it is our job to learn. Bhagavan Shri Krishna, he explains what happens when we do not know something. What is the process that we have to follow? Let's see what he says. Om Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Govind Jai Jai
Gopal Jai Jai Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
Radha Raman Hari Govind Jai Jai
Radha Raman Hari Govind Jai Jai
Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
Agyascha Shraddadhanascha Shamshayatma Vinashyati Nayam Lokosti Na Paro Na Sukham Samshayatmanah Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai
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 O Gopal Jai Jai
Gopal Jai Jai
Gopal Jai Jai. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, this is chapter 4, verse 40. He says, the ignorant fool, one without faith in Vedic scriptures, one who is afflicted by inner doubt and uncertainty, is ruined. And for one afflicted by doubt and uncertainty, there is no happiness in this world nor the next. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says very, very clearly that if we doubt everything, if we are uncertain about everything, then we believe in nothing. There's a very famous philosopher by the name of René Descartes, a French philosopher. His entire method was to doubt everything, and hence he came to believe in one thing, and that one thing only. You can read about him if you would like to learn about him. It's very interesting because he comes to a point where it is very close to Hinduism. His final results is something very, very close to what Hinduism believes in meditation. But his method was a little bit crazy, and many people thought he was. He wrote that, I doubt everything in this world. What does this mean to you and I? It means that if we do not believe in something, then, here's a quote, if you do not believe in something, then you'll fall for everything. If we do not believe in something, give our full faith, as it says, faith in Vedic scriptures. Then what happens? We are ruined because there's no happiness in this world nor the next. We are searching here and there for a belief to find something finally. When in the Vedic scriptures, it tells us exactly what to do. It tells us exactly which path to follow. And there's a very important word that says here, the ignorant person. So the ignorant person, this is what happens to them. This is not something that may affect all of us, because of course I can believe that those who are listening to me right now have some type of belief. But it's important to note that Bhagavan Shri Krishna, he points out this word ignorant. The word ignorant means someone who has a lack of knowledge, information, or awareness about something. It is a state of being uninformed, of not knowing something that one should know. And you see, ignorance, it can manifest in various forms. It can be ignorance of something that is true, a fact. It can be ignorance of your own personal limitations, biases, downfalls. It can be something that hinders you from seeing your impact on others. So ignorance is something that blocks us from knowing more. But sometimes we say ignorance is bliss. This is usually said as an excuse. It is used as an excuse to not try to know any better. We say this when we do not want to know more. We say this when we do not want to keep searching further for that information that we should know. When we're not trying to find out exactly what it is. And you see, most people in this world, they speak on topics that they believe they know all about. They speak very confidently. They speak very clearly on things that they know very, very little of, but they speak with a loud voice on it. And this reminds me of a beautiful story of 6 blind men. Have you heard this story? No? 6 blind men. These 6 blind men, they came together every day. They were blind, so they had nothing to do but argue. They came together, they argued on topics. They all thought that they were the most wise. Seeing this now, a sadhu, he saw them quarreling, and he brings them into the jungle. And he shows them, this is an elephant. All of the 6 blind men, what do? They go up to the elephant, and they can't see, so they use their hands to feel exactly what the elephant is. They've never seen an elephant before. The first blind man, he looks, and he feels the elephant, and he says, this elephant is like a great mud wall. It's very strong, very sturdy. It's been baked in the sun. The second, he said, the elephant is much like a spear. It is very sharp on the end, very strong. The other said, the elephant is like a rope. I can feel the strands of the rope. The fourth said that the elephant is much like a snake. It moves like how a snake moves. The fifth blind man, he said, I can see what the elephant resembles the most. He is like a mighty fan. And the sixth blind man, he says, no, the elephant is a very sturdy pillar, a very strong pillar. They were all each feeling a different part of the elephant. And they were thinking that the elephant was that one part that they were feeling. Of course, the person feeling the mud wall was feeling the body of the elephant. The spear was the tusk. The rope was the tail. The serpent was the trunk. The fan was the ears of the elephant. And the pillar, of course, was the foot. The feet of the elephant were strong like a pillar. Now each, as they went back, they had their own opinion. They were firmly based in their own experience of feeling what the elephant was. And they understood to themselves what the elephant is really like. And each of them were correct in their own way, but they have only seen part of the elephant, and so each of them were only partly correct, though all of them at the same time were very wrong. Life is like this. There's no way that we can understand the entire thing. There's no way that we understand all of what is happening in the world and all of what we're trying to find out. But as much as we can, we must try to find the entire elephant. As much as we can, we must try to find the entire truth, not just part of the truth. And so it reminds me of a story of one time where I was very, very wrong. And I was using my own biases to get through this situation. But it ended very badly for me. There was one time where Cindy and I were going to another temple. There's a temple near her house. Not a mandir, like a West Indian temple. It was a South Indian temple. And it looked very nice. They had just built it. We decided to go and visit it to see how it was like. And we walked in, and there was a man that was sharing something in it from Lota. We joined the line, and I said, the man is sharing Panchamrit. So we bowed, we went to go into the line, and as he put the liquid into my hand, I drank it right away. But it wasn't Panchamrit, it was Chandan. And it tasted terrible. And I knew right away, I was like, what is this? And he at the same time, he was trying to stop me and say, that's not for you to drink, but it was too late. Apparently in this temple, he gives you with a spoon in your hand, and you take the chandan and you put it on your forehead. But you see, me not knowing that, and knowing the way that when we share from a lota with a spoon, you're supposed to drink it as panchamrit. By the way, if this ever happens to you and you're in a line, find out what it is first, before you eat it, especially. Definitely before you eat it. So my own biases allowed me to not understand what was happening, because I'm used to one thing, but there are many people who do different things differently. How is it that we can use this knowledge to find appreciation of it in our life? Because once we know something, we can love it. How is it that we can do that? We look to the Ramcharitmanas now. Om Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram
Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram
Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram
Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram
जाने बिनु न होई परतीति जाने बिनु न होई परतीति बिनु परतीति होई नहीं प्रीति बिनु परतीति होई नहीं प्रीति जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम
Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram
प्रीति बिना नहीं भक्ति जराई प्रीति बिना नहीं भक्ति बराई जिमी कगपति जल के चिकनाई जिमी कगपति जल के चिकनाई जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम
Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram
जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम
Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram
ओ जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम
Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram
ओ जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम. In the Ramcharitmanas, Tulsidas says, जाने बिनु न होई परतीति बिनु परतीति होई नहीं प्रीति प्रीति बिना नहीं भगति दराई Jime kagapati jalake chikanai. What does he say? He says, Jani binu na hoi parititi. Jani means to know. Without knowing, there's no way that we can have parititi, which means confidence. Binu parititi hoi nahi priti. Without confidence, there's no way that we can have priti, which is love. Priti bina nahi bhagati nirai. And of course, without love, there's no way we can have bhakti. Without Prabhu Shri Ram's grace, it says in the verse, it is not possible to know his greatness. Without knowledge, faith is out of the question. Without faith, there can be no love. And without any love, we cannot have any devotion. There's no way that we can have devotion in this life without first having the right knowledge. Tulsidas lays out in the Ramcharitmanas how to get to love, to get to bhakti, to get to devotion to Bhagavan, we have to have the knowledge first. And once we look and we can find all the knowledge, because it is very accessible to all of us, then we build a confidence in our religion, in our culture, in our dharma, and we can stand up for it in whatever situation we are in. That's when we are able to love our dharma even more. And of course, that love brings us to bhakti. Bol Shri Jagadambika Durga Mata Ki Jai. Thank you for joining with our katha, everyone. And special thank you to our sponsor for this evening, our dedication. This dedication is remembering our beloved Rukmin Ramasar, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother who passed away 10 years ago. Thank you to the family for sponsoring for this evening and for sending your dedication in to us. For that, we'd like to sing a beautiful bhajan before we do announcements and close for Aarti. Om Ma Jai Ambe Ma Jai Durge Ma Raksha Karo. Om Ma Jai Ambe Ma Jai Durge Ma Kripa Karo. Ma Jai Ambe Ma Jai Durge Ma Raksha Karo. Om Ma Jai Ambe Ma Jai Durge Ma Kripa Karo. O Pehra Wali Jota Wali Re, O Shera Wali Shakti Shali hai. मन में लगन है जरा न थकन है, खुशियाँ खजाना तू मैं ललचाऊं भरी भरी आऊं दिल को भराना तो। माँ जय अम्बे माँ जय दुर्गे माँ रक्षा करो। ओ माँ जय अम्बे माँ जय दुर्गे माँ कृपा करो। रुक है सुहानी तंद तंद पानी तपन हरे मन भी लगे नहीं धूरी होती ही है पूरी आशा जीवन भी। ओ सुहानी तंद तंद पानी तपन हरे मन भी लगे नहीं दूरी होती है पूरी आशा जीवन भी। माँ जय अम्बे माँ जय दुर्गे माँ रक्षा करो। माँ जय अम्बे माँ जय दुर्गे माँ कृपा करो। माँ कृपा करो। माँ कृपा करो। बोले जगदम्बिका दुर्गा माता की जय। Thank you everyone, and thank you to our sponsor on this anniversary of 10 years. Our announcement today is that this Sunday we have our Holy Mela. This is taking place March 5th at 3 p.m. The entrance is free, so anyone is able to join. We'll have lots of booths, entertainment, and we'll have food for purchase. So please come on out. This is a time or a parab, not really a parab, but something that we can celebrate and get together and enjoy before we engage in the holy celebrations. This time it's before Holy. So before we could get to engage in that true celebration, we'd like to see some entertainment, holy entertainment, and get into the mood. If you're not feeling like it's holy yet, come on out. I'm sure this will do just the trick. Thank you everyone for joining with us. Please let us now stand for Aarti. Om Yani Kani Cha Papani Janmantar Kritani Cha Tani Sarvani Nashyantu Pradakshina Pare Pare.
Om Jai Ambe Gauri Maya Jai Shama Gauri. Jai Ambe Gauri Maya Jai Shama Gauri. Tumko nish din dhyaavat Maya ji ko nish din dhyaavat Hari Brahma Shiv ji. Om Jai Ambe Gauri Maya Jai Shama Gauri. Mang sindoor virajat Tiko mrig mad ko Maya tiko mrig mad ko. Ujjwal se do naina Ujjwal se do naina Chandra vadhani ko. Om Jai Ambe Gauri Maya Jai Shama Gauri. Kanak saman kalevar Ratambar raje Maya Ratambar raje. Rat pushpa galmara Rat pushpa galmara Kantan par saje. Om Jai Ambe Gauri Maya Jai Shama Gauri. Kanan kundal shobhit Nasage moti Maya nasage moti.
शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिभिर्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णु भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथं सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोऽस्तु ते त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव We all bow. Om Guru Brahma Gururvishnu Gurudevo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. बोले उमापति महादेव की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, सिया भज रामचंद्र की जय, श्री दुर्गा माता की जय, सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। सबको जय जय सीताराम। जय माता दी। Everyone, please stay where you are. Aarti will be coming towards you. Thank you.